Yeah, welcome everybody from side of the Department of Physics of the FAU, Friedrich Alexander University Erlangen-Nürnberg. I'm the Dean of Studies, 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘳𝘓, and you also see here with us 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘈, who is head of the Master Admission Committee. So we are both there for you also in the question and answer session later on. Let me tell you a little bit where we are. Let me see, there is, no, where's this pointer thingy? What is this done? Yeah. Where we are in so-called Middle Franconia. Here is Erlangen, there's a larger city, Nürnberg around, a lot of smaller cities. Overall, we belong to a European region, Nürnberg, European metropolitan region. The distances of Erlangen to Nürnberg is about 15 to 20 kilometers. To Munich, as much looks much, but in fact, it's just about 180 kilometers. I also put Frankfurt and Berlin inside, so you have a slight idea where we are. We have close to Erlangen or close to Nürnberg also an airport, which is very convenient. And of course, the next closer one would be Munich. So this is where we are. We have a lot of industry actually around us, and the university is also entangled with these people, Siemens, different branches, but also toys, Playmobil, you may have heard about, Adidas, Puma, Framatome as the headquarter also in Erlangen. And also the Schaeffler Group is located right next to Erlangen. So a very industry-oriented region. If you think about the FAU, a few facts, we have 5 faculties, some good 40,000 students, good 270 degree programs, and about 630 professors. Overall, at the moment, we have about more than 8,000 international students from almost 140 different countries, which we're actually quite happy about to be so attractive. Now, the faculties, which are the Faculty of Natural Sciences, where the Department of Physics is actually located. We have the School of Law, Faculty of Medicine, Humanities, and the Faculty of Engineering. We have also a Nuremberg campus, where it's the School of Business and the Center for Teacher Education. Now, our faculty, as you have also seen from the industry slide, has, of course, a lot of connections with the actual Faculty of Engineering, but also with the Faculty of Medicine. You will see later on that this provides quite an interesting portfolio on where you can actually work on. A little bit about rankings, 2024-25. We are, according to QS, 95th worldwide in the area of material science, where of course also physics plays an important role. Worldwide, physics and astronomy, chemistry, and other directions. We are Germany's most innovative university in number of patents, which means we produce more patents than any other university in Germany. And we are also doing quite well if we look worldwide as well nationwide as being among the most renowned universities. Okey-doke. So, Department of Physics. Erlangen is an interesting city. There's a lot of green. And actually, the physics part is completely built into the woods. So it's quite charming to spend the time there, I have to say. There's maybe 1 or 2 buildings missing. The photo is a little bit older, so we grow, but it's very pleasant. Now, what are the main research and study pillars which we actually have? So we focus basically around 6, which would be condensed matter, astrophysics and astroparticle physics, optical sciences, physics and life sciences, theoretical physics, and quantum technologies. Now, these pillars are not strictly separated, as you will see later in the course, and there's a lot of overlap, right? Quantum materials and quantum optics play together. So there's a lot of interdisciplinarity, which is one of the strengths of our department, I believe. So how would be a study looking like, a master study? So it's a 4 semesters, so 2 years. Year 1 is sort of like bringing you up to speed, you know, getting more specialized general or creating more general knowledge with some advanced experimental physics and advanced theoretical physics courses. But also you have the choice there already to choose elective courses in order to go towards a specialization or a specific interest of yours. Other electric courses other than physics are also part of it. So that can be language as much. It could be a business thing or a management thing. So you have quite some liberty to structure your individual studies. So that would be basically first and second semester. In year 2, third and fourth semester, it looks a little bit different. There again, we have these advanced courses in experimental physics. You see there's different topics according to that, what your interests are. And eventually you see here at the bottom something which we call the specialization phase, project planning preparation, and your master thesis. Now, all this here together is taking one semester, a year. So in other words, you have about 6 months where you start to specialize towards a very specific topic, a very specific project, which you have discussed, of course, with a professor, which you do in the group of the research group of that person, and you really start working towards it, where after 6 months you merge it and continue it into your master thesis, right? Which you bring to an end after these 6 months. So in total, it would be a year. And of course, you hand in a written thesis work. And of course, you have an oral colloquium, a presentation, and a question of answer session. So it's all about you and your interests. How do you want to shape your studies? Now, specialization again. How do you get to that? You can, of course, you can do a mixed course or say a good mix of different types of courses and get your master's in physics in general. But if you feel like, oh, I want to do more theory, I want to do more solid state physics, I want to do more optics, then of course you can get a specific or specialized master degree. You just have to collect a sufficient number of courses. All that is written down in the regulations. And your master degree would be then not simply master degree in physics, but master degree in physics, specialization, say, quantum materials. Yeah. So you have a lot of freedom to structure your studies here to the way you would like it. Now, we have a lot of university-associated research centers and affiliated research units within the university and associated with. So, for example, the Profile Center Light Matter Quantum Technologies, the name says it already, but we have also 2 Max Planck Institutes, one's for the science of light, one's for the physics and medicine. Of course, we also have something more applied, Fraunhofer Institution or the Helmholtz Institution, but of course also here the materials part is important, the astrophysics part, and also the part with the clinic in Erlangen. And of course, within this framework, it's only a few, which I mentioned here, you can find your master thesis topic and work also in these specific centers where the professors typically are part of it. Now, a few hints around the application. We heard it already. Well, in our case, of course, the master is entirely in English. And you do not need any certificate on your English skills if you're in an English-speaking country, and or your bachelor has been completely in English. Otherwise, you will have to go through a TOEFL test or British Council, etc., which things again is written down in the regulations, but you can also see on your webpage. Currently, there's no application fee, but this will come, unfortunately, and we guess it's going to be around 100 to 300 euros. So you have to take that into account. There's nevertheless, in any case, always a re-registration fee for every semester, which is to be paid, so of 72 euros. And for the admission process, it's actually competitive, right? It's not just the amount of numbers of students we get is very high. So we really have also to look, and we are also interested in the best ones. So what is going to come also in this context is an external test to be provided with the regulation, with the application, which will be the grave physics test or something similar, probably expected from 2026 on. When we look into the degrees, which are typically accepted, of course, physics degrees, bachelor in physics, or subjects very closely related are accepted. Of course, if you come from outside of Schengen, you will have to apply for a student visa, which you have to contact your local German embassy. We have no influence on that, what they ask you for, so and what they actually require, and this is unfortunately changing always. So you have a little bit to contact with them. Funding sourcing for your studies are found exclusively outside of the US university. We always recommend to look into the DAAD, but there's also the possibility to work during your master studies as a student helper. We call it a HIWI, Hilfswissenschaftler, on a subject which is offered at that time in a research group and so on. But there's mechanisms how you get to that information. And of course, once you have your M.Sc degree, there's always the possibility to think about to carry on the PhD. Note, if you're in Germany, PhD student, you're actually not student, you are a paid employee, but you are granted student rights. So that's maybe something which many people are not aware of. So how's life in Erlangen? Well, Erlangen has about 110,000 inhabitants, but there's more than 40,000 students, so it's really a student town. There's a lot of venues, bars, clubs according to that, and by train or public transport, you're also quickly in Nürnberg. It is actually the bicycle city of Germany, so you will hardly find more bicycles and people on a bike than anywhere else. Then sports club facilities, and actually just next door is actually Franconian Switzerland, which is really a bouldering paradise. So it's also a great region for sports spectatorships. There's a lot of football, soccer, and things going on. Main destinations around us you can reach timely with public transport. In spring and summer, there's many local festivals which are known as Bergkirchwein. Erlangen has the largest worldwide and oldest open-air beer festival of this kind, which is called the Erlangen-Bergkirchwein. And in winter, you can just by car get within 3 to 5 hours into the mountains for skiing, snowboarding, and whatsoever. So there's a lot of nice things to do. While housing market is volatile, one has unfortunately to say it's a student town. There's a lot of movement, but it's possible. What about the living costs? If you think about a one-bedroom apartment, all including food, whatever, estimates go between 1 to 1,200 euros per month. Note, however, that healthcare is by large free, and the students have many reductions in public transport, entrance to museums, swimming pools, theaters, and so on. So this it is, a few ideas. Here you can boulder. Here is, again, a little bit of Erlangen to be seen. Here you have the Erlangen-Bergkirchweih. Here is science happening. And overall, I hope this was informative. We have a question and answer session afterwards. And of course, myself, as well as the head of the master committee, are here to answer your question. And we have, of course, our 2 web pages of our study service center, physics, specifically for student needs, and of course, the department's web page. Thank you.
I'd like to give the mic to Jan-Alev Steinblock, who will be presenting quantum engineering. And this is Leibniz University Hannover and Technische Universität Braunschweig, and Jana will.
So, yeah, welcome from my side as well. I would like to introduce to you the Quantum Engineering's Master Program at Leibniz University Hannover in cooperation with TU Braunschweig. My name is Jan-Alev Steinblock and I'm the program coordinator. So for the start, I want to start with the environment that you're studying in. So here you have a little map of Germany. Hannover is in the north of Germany in the state of Lower Saxony. And yeah, I briefly outlined the environment. If you choose quantum engineering, you will come to 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵, so you come to Hanover and your base will be in Hanover. But the study program profits from a close cooperation with TU Braunschweig and the study program there, Quantum Technologies. And it is possible and sometimes necessary to attend courses in Braunschweig as well, but they are mostly offered in an online or in hybrid version, so you are also able to watch them from Hanover. Of course, sometimes it can be very nice to also join the other students in Braunschweig as well. Both degree programs were able to be created because we have the Cluster of Excellence Quantum Frontiers. That is a big research project group located within quantum physics and also quantum technologies. And it has been established across the two universities in Hanover and Braunschweig, and is also in close cooperation partner with the PTB, that's like the physical technical Bundesanstalt. There is our atomic clock located, basically. And as well, we have the Center of Applied Space Technology and Microgravity in Bremen on board. So you also have cooperation to Bremen if you like to have this, and the Max Planck Institute for Gravitational Physics and the Laser Zentrum Hanover are involved in this. So you have a broad spectrum of partners, and the scientists in these research networks are working at the cutting edge of quantum mechanics and quantum technologies. So if you come here, you are located in Quantum Valley, Lower Saxony, and you have a broad expertise in science, industry, and politics, and that is the perfect for industrial internships or project works in a non-academic surrounding, as well as in an academic surrounding. So you have all you need for really the industrial market and also university research and development that you need after you finished the master degree here. So coming up next, what are you studying? You are studying, here's a study sample plan with a start in a winter semester, for example. So this program is really about physics with a hinge of electrical engineering. That is also the difference between the program in Hanover and Braunschweig. Hanover focuses more on the physics part and Braunschweig focuses more on the electrical engineering part. So you have the curriculum that will provide solid knowledge in the area of fundamental theoretical concepts, for example, in experimental and theoretical quantum optics, in solid state physics, and in quantum information. Through additional quantum engineering competencies, which on the one hand consists of in-depth specialized lectures, primarily from 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵, and leave room for individual selectable focal points, and on the other hand are supplemented by practice-oriented modules in electronics, control engineering, and also optics. So the program offers a clear added value and a unique selling point compared to classical physics degree program. So you have here the compulsory stuff, then you have physics electives and electrical engineering electives, basically. And then you have also a lab course that is a semester-spanning programming module that teaches the necessary basics in data evaluation, real-time control of experiments, and is also an introduction to simulations. In this way, you get scientific methods and work processes that are taught to you from the textbook to the screen. You'll work on the optical table and also on the workbench, and you get also probably to the publication part. And in particular, the independently conducted research project within the framework of the master thesis represents the synthesis of everything you previously learned in the scientific process here. So it all ends with the master thesis. This is heavily like connected and implemented to your research project. Yes, if you have questions to this, you can ask me later on. So what is our admission regulations? We are looking for different suitable previous degree programs in bachelor's, mainly physics, but also optical technologies and electrical engineering, or similar, with at least 20 ECTS in mathematics. So we need a strong mathematical foundation, 8 ECTS in quantum mechanics, so the physics part is strong, and 5 ECTS in wave optics or in electrodynamics. So conditions may be imposed that you have to fulfill during the first 2 semesters of the studying, and that mostly applies for people with electrical engineering background. Like then you have to take the course in quantum mechanics or coherent optics and/or so that you then can fully start with deep diving in quantum optics and stuff. So yes, and we require an English language level C1, and you can start this program within the winter and the summer semester. We recommend sometimes the summer semester because here you have the quantum mechanic introduction and also the coherent optics introduction. And in the winter semester, the obligatory courses on quantum optics and advanced solid state physics starts. So probably the summer semester is a good entry point to just get sorted everything out and then get to start on the heavy part in the winter semester, basically. But it is completely up to you. And if you have a physics background, it will work like that as well. So what is the qualification goal of the master program? You will be ideally suited to fill the gaps that are continually opening up in the labor market in industry, thanks to your in-depth knowledge training in quantum mechanics and also theoretical and practical knowledge of quantum technologies. So that is in quantum communication, quantum metrology, quantum sensing, quantum simulation, quantum computing. And with your profile, you can pursue laboratory activities as well as jobs in manufacturing or research and development. So you have the prerequisites for obtaining a doctorate and also to pursue an academic career if you like. So here in the study program, you can really choose your specialization individually corresponding to your bachelor's degree and of course on your interests that might also develop in the future. So now I have some facts and figures about the university. So you get probably to study here in that nice castle. That are our key research areas in Hannover. And important for you is probably the quantum optics and gravitational physics part. So here's the precision measurement of space-time, light, and matter, as well as the development of laser systems and atomic clocks. And then we as well have here the optical technologies, so huge applications include camera technology, navigation, medicine, as well as the internet. So also we here are focusing on laser technologies, and other big research areas are biomedical research and technology, as well as production engineering and the interdisciplinary study of science and energy research. So we are also part of the TU9, so German Universities of Technology. This is an alliance of leading universities of technology in Germany. On the right-hand side, you can see which other universities are part of the TU9. So this is also a strong network. And we have the European University Alliance U-List. That is like cooperation with different European universities. Of course, we have also cooperation worldwide and non-EU, but this one is kind of really close to us. And you'll probably have also the chance to visit another university if it is fitting in your study program. So yes. And what about people at LUH? So there are around about 30,000 students, where 43% of them are female and 14% of them are internationals. So as well for the graduates, we here have as well 14% of international graduates. And here you can also say like the bachelor degree and master degree graduates. And the staff, probably also interesting for you, we have 13% of international staff throughout the university. And of course, you are also welcome to pursue an academic career after your master's studies. To welcome you, we have the study buddy program at LUH. So it is an exchange between local and international students, and yeah, it is part of our welcoming culture. You get to learn how German academic system works. It's probably quite different from what you're used to, but no worries. We are here to help with that, and also your study buddy is. And yeah, you get to know the intercultural skills that are probably needed, and also your language skills will be improved here. So what it's like living in Hanover, as you can see right here, it is already very green. It is very green around the university. It is very green throughout the city. We are the capital of Lower Saxony. We have more than 500,000 inhabitants, and also, it is very centrally located in Germany, so there's an airport access, railway network. The North and East is not so far away. So yes, and you have also the largest exhibition site here. So you probably got to know the trade fair Hannover Messe. That is a really big fair in Hanover. And also like the IAA, it's a very big car exhibition. And then we have here the headquarters of Continental, Balsen, so like very good cookies. Volkswagen, probably you know that one as well, and TUI. So that is all about I have to say about this. And as I mentioned, Green City, we have Herrenhausen Gardens, that is right next to the university. And it is most of the most significant Baroque gardens in Europe. We have the 𝘈𝘥𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘵 that you can see here on the picture. It is just a big lake in the middle of the city, basically. It is very nice to hang out there. And then we have the 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘁. It's one of Europe's largest forests in the heart of a city. So yeah, also we have the forests around the university, like Erlangen also mentioned, but of course they have the physics department right into the forest. It's probably also really nice to have that. So yes, are you ready for your future? You can also have a look and scan the QR code and have a look on our little video that is like for promotion and yeah, giving you a little glimpse in the fun of Hannover University. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'm still here. And of course, you can write me anytime, and probably Nino can make contact or something. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jana. I will just quickly copy the link to the video so that in case somebody wants to have it, there is also in chat. To attendees, the contact email from Quantum Engineering is also in chat, and there is also a phone number. A very important thing is that you need VPD from UniAssist to apply, so please make sure that you are good in time, and the program has 2 application deadlines. VPD is valid for 1 year, and therefore, yeah, in case something happens and you are late now because you don't have a VPD right now, and if you apply, I doubt it will be there before 31st of May, but you can also use it for the 30th of November application deadline. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's start with the questions. I will start with the one that has lots of questions, like as a in it. I don't know the name of the attendee. It says anonymous attendee, and I will ask this question to both of you. Let's start with the team file, and then I will take the question for Jana. Please, are you very strict with GPA requirements? Also, I know Germany is home of physics. However, considering being out of school since 2005, working primarily, will I stand a chance of being accepted since I want to delve into research and academia? Also, what area should I be revising now to facilitate my transition into the physics program? Professors or Dr. Malzer? I don't know who wants to take this one.
Christoph, do you want?
Yes, so thank you very much for that question. So generally, of course, I mean, we have to see that you have a chance to really can excel in the studies that we do. So we have requirements on different subjects that play a role. So it's of course much more physics oriented. So there's no, as always, because it's an international possibility to apply, in our admission committee, we will have a careful look at your transcript of record and then decide whether this will be sufficient for the admission or not. So it's very hard to give a number on something like that because that really varies from university to university.
I may add that sometimes it's also like that we see that if a candidate would principally be fitting, but we see that according to the records which we have or sent in with the application, we may ask the applicant, okay, you can start, but you need to take an extra course on, say, I don't know, electrodynamics, or where we feel like, okay, here you need some extra knowledge to build up, so to be successful. So we take this into account that, of course, there are internationally seen courses which don't have exactly the same syllabus as our bachelor physics course, right? And then we say like, okay, it's actually fitting, but please do that on top, and then everything is fine.
I just will follow up here with you. So since the person has a gap between bachelor and will have a master, is it okay? Do you have restrictions in this regard, or is it okay to apply? And the second one is 2.5 GPA. Is it a very harsh cut for you, or it's possible to provide additional motivation letter, outstanding desire to study, and then you look at it?
Yes, so if you have a gap in studies, that might be okay. It depends a bit on what you have done in between, right? I mean, also personally for you, of course, right? How easy it is to really cope with the gap, right? So, for example, if you work somewhere near the field, then of course it's much more easy to do that. So, and we will really have a look at each case, and we'll evaluate how this gap can be possibly bridged, right? So don't worry, we will have a look at it, right? And then also about GPA or some values like that, we will always look at the entire submission, right? And take into account everything of that entire submission.
I may add, of course, that if it's like that there are open questions, typically the admission committee will first reach out by email to the student to clarify things, and then maybe ask for some extra documentation which is needed, and or even, if decided to be necessary, have an informal interview regarding the application. Yeah. So we try to be as comprehensive as possible, because we understand that the background of every student is changing from student to student. So we have to take that into account.
Thank you so much. Question for Jana. Actually, two questions. How much hands-on lab experience is included in areas like quantum sensors or quantum communication hardware? And second is, I would love to know more about what kind of coding or programming background would help me succeed, especially in quantum simulation or computing.
Okay, I answered that as best as I can since I'm only the study program coordinator. But so hands-on and lab experience, you have some stuff in quantum sensors and probably also quantum communication, but this also depends on your interest. There is also always the possibility to join a lab in the university, also at Braunschweig, for example, but mainly at LOH or also Max Planck Institute or something, where you can have, of course, all the hands-on lab experience basically. So if you work there, for example, you can also always ask professors if they are welcoming someone in their lab. and then you can have all the experience you like in that regard. But we have that, I mentioned that the lab course, computational method simulation and experimental control, where you get into doing some of that stuff. And which coding or programming background we would recommend? Probably I stick with Python. So if you are already like a bit acquainted with Python, it would be like helpful for quantum simulation and computing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Back to FAU team. How long is the interview, and do you provide topics to prepare for? And for specializations, can one switch, or it is what you select and cannot be changed?
Oh, okay. So basically, we try to avoid interviews at the first stage, and then, as has been said, if there's something that we have to clarify, then we would be doing interviews, right? And that is, we cannot say, it's not kind of formalized in that way. It's like this long or so on. We will do this on a case-to-case decision because the cases are very, very different. And as to on the studies and how to specialize about switching, I will refer to 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘳𝘚.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so the specialization, of course, you can switch. There's you have, from this perspective, complete freedom. Say at the beginning you have decided, I don't know, you want to do quantum optics. You find out, oh, that's not the right thing. I rather do quantum materials. Then, of course, also you should then choose the according courses, right? And only at the very end, when you have all the required numbers of courses and seminars and everything, then you have to present these to the examinations committee, which actually grants you the specialization. So there is flexibility, of course. Take into account that if you started with the idea of a specialization in one direction, that costs time. So you may need to either put more effort, in hearing 2 lectures in parallel, or maybe have in mind that you have to study a semester longer. But in between, you can always switch, right? It's really up to you to design it the way you most like it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And just out of curiosity, if somebody follows one specialization, will it be mentioned as a minor in the final certificate, or
No. You have one specialization for which you go for, right?
Okay. Thank you. One question for Jana, and then a question for both of you. For Jana, the question was, I have a Prüfbericht evaluation report is the same as a VPD. Yes, it is. But I wanted to clarify, does it need to be specifically issued for the university, or do you accept general ones?
I think we accept the general ones as far as I know this. So last year it worked like that very well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a VPD issued in general, it should be very easy to use that also for Hannover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
if it's still valid, of course, it is probably expiring, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's only valid for 1 year, the attendee, or if it's still, in range, in time frame, then you can apply for that. So yes, this is the same thing, and you just need to then upload it to the online system, and the link to that is also in chat. So yeah, since you already have it, then start application if you want now. And the last question I see right now is about the acceptance rate for this program as of the last year. Professor, from the beginning, you scared people, I think, that you are very picky. Can you now calm people down?
Well, I hope so. It really changes a little bit from year to year, but you also have to think about when you have hundreds of applications, right? It's just not possible to take all hundreds on board, and I guess Leibniz is having the same issue. So it varies, of course, but it's somewhere around 20%.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about realistically. right? But again, it's not a hard number in this sense, right?
And then you are part of a great program, and you can say I was in top 20, so that's
exactly the
20%.
point. I mean, this is why I said we are very since the beginning when we started to actually put the master in English, we continued every year to rise applications, very good students, and the field just gets more competitive, but there's only so much capacity. So here we go.
Thank you so much. We would like to hear your feedback, Jana, as well.
Yeah, so we are still a very small study program. We started like 3 years back and we're still growing. So our acceptance rate is relatively high, I would say. So if you have a background in physics, it is most likely that we will accept you. Of course, there's always the possibility of that you have the conditions to revisit something like quantum mechanics if we have the feeling or see like, okay, there's something missing. And if you have another background than physics, it really depends on what you've done before, basically. So if your transcript of records or other things in your CV basically show that you have been interested in physics before, because our study program is called quantum engineering, but if you're not like into physics, you will probably not be able to get this through. So quantum optics is a really, really hard subject basically, and that is obligatory. So you have to get through that. And if you don't have quantum mechanics on board and are also like fine with different concepts of that, you will probably not be able to study that program to the end. So I would say we are really like open to anyone, and we also accept as much as possible and give you the chance with the conditions. But we also have to say, when you're here, it can be really hard at some point. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
But we do our best to support you, of course, so don't be too scared.
We get thank yous from attendees and